Wow, that was crazy. So I started talking about Darth Vader, and it
Oh yeah,
disconnected.
Darth Vader was
That is
totally responsible
that
for
is
that.
eerie. And is the stream back though? Do we actually have it back?
I don't know. I think
I'm
so.
looking at it right now. I
Yeah, we
think
got
so.
it back.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
we're
looks
up.
back.
We're here.
Okay.
Hi, friends.
So for those of you at home who are thinking like, hey, what would Darth Vader's stats be? That could be kind of interesting. That's the kind of character that they don't even give you stats for in the book because they're just a tad too dangerous for your average player character. Of course, also, anybody who's played a role-playing game in the past knows that if it has stats, we can kill it. And you can't kill Darth Vader. So, stats for him.
If we could kill Darth Vader in one of these games, that would be like the most amazing thing for me.
That would be like an alternate timeline immediately.
I mean, technically none of this is canon, so alternate timeline away. I'm totally down.
To be fair, I try and keep as much of it canon or stuff that's in the expanded universe that I think should be canon but no longer is. But yeah.
That's fair. All right, cool. So lastly, I'm Sylvanora. You can follow me on Twitter at Sylvanora for all things nerdy. You can also find me here every Sunday night, geeking out on stories from our galaxy far, far away. I also play in all of the games that Throne Gauntlet casts, and I'm pointing this way because he's 3 feet away from me. I'm sorry, I should not point because you don't see him that way. Anyway, yeah, he's over there, just in case you're wondering. Yeah, so that's us. So before we get into character generation, which we're really hoping everyone here in chat can kind of help shape our story and our group, we wanted to do a little bit of a recap on the rules and the system, just in case anyone is new joining us or if they need a little bit of a refresher. Just a quick question. Does anyone hear an echo with me talking? Because I kind of hear an echo for myself, but if not,
I heard it very briefly, but I don't currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mic's not going off in OBS, so.
Okay, cool. I hear the echo, but that's okay. I can hear myself twice. So we're going to go over some of the core rules, which I'm going to ask the Emperor to switch our OBS to the dice rolling screen so that we can talk a little bit about what the core mechanic is. So basically what we have, and I'm going to wait for my stream to catch up here a little bit because I can't actually see it yet. But basically the core mechanic behind this is a custom set of dice. So it's not your typical D20 system that you would see for D&D or Pathfinder. Basically because Fantasy Flight Games has done a great job of making the dice and the mechanic really fit Star Wars. So Star Wars, the movies, if you're a super nerd fan like we are obviously very epic in scale. And by allowing these different dice mechanics to come in, it allows it to be very epic in scale for the story we're telling and very narrative. So basically, there's a set of dice, and some of them are positive and some of them are negative. So you can kind of see at the top of the stream screen here that there are green and yellow and blue or gray, whatever color you decide to think that looks like, that are positive dice. So they're the ability, the proficiency, and the boost die. So those are essentially the pool that you create as a character going through the story. The other set of dice, which are the purple, red, and black dice, are what our Emperor uses to make things go very badly for us. So those are the difficulty, challenge, and setback dice. So basically the green die and the purple die are equal. They're D8 shaped and they have the same types of results but are opposite to each other, so positive and negative. So they basically have symbols that cancel each other out, as do the yellow and red and the blue and black. There's also a force die, which we'll get into a little bit more when we play our Force of Destiny arc, but basically right now we use them for what we call as the destiny pool. So as we go through the story, we have these points that we can use. Either the GM can use them to make really bad things happen, or the players can use them to help them make really good things happen. So that's it. So I'm going to do a roll here, and I've made my pool really big just so we can get a good sample size of what all the dice are. What you can see with this roll, so which is quite an interesting rule. So basically, you have symbols that, on the positive side, are advantage, success, and triumph. Oddly enough, I didn't roll any success on this, so I'm going to roll again just so we can get an idea. There we go. Wow, a lot of canceling out there. So the success is kind of like the little starburst symbol. The advantage is, I don't even know what that shape is. Anyone want to give a shout out to what kind of shape the advantage is? It's like, I don't know. Anyway, advantage. And then there's the triumph symbol, which you saw on the previous roll that I did, which is kind of like the star in the circle. The success is basically you make the check. So in this case, I made an astrogation check. So that means I succeeded at my check. The advantage is something that you can use to make another positive effect happen. So basically, for example, if I'm shooting my gun and I had a few advantage, I could use it to crit someone, or I could use it to say I hit a panel behind them, closing the door so they can't run away. So the players can be very creative in how they use the advantage, and that's one of the best features of the system, is allowing us to use that advantage in interesting ways. On the alternate side, you can see on the purple and red and black dice, there's failures, which are the upside down triangle type things, and those basically cancel out the success results. Then there's threat, which is the opposite of what the advantage is. So those cancel each other out. And then there's the despair, which doesn't show up a lot, much to the dismay of our emperor, but maybe I'll roll a few times. No despair. See, it never shows up. There we go. We got a despair. So the despair is the alternate of the triumph. So the triumph, you can kind of think of it like an uber advantage. It allows you to do something extremely cool, or it allows you to crit in most cases. And then the despair, why don't you give an example of how you would use that, GM Drone Gauntlet?
My favorite way to use despair is to make someone's weapon run out of ammo, because there's nothing more demoralizing than losing your favorite weapon in the middle of a fight. There's other ways that you can use it. It can damage tools or weapons that people are using. It can upgrade make the antagonist's check better. So like if you tried to shoot someone but you failed to hit them, might be that they use that. They basically see your shot, dodge around it, and use it to close distance, or something like that. So despair is very powerful, and a lot of times, in a lot of really important checks, a despair is very bad. If you'd imagine the danger of setting a course through hyperspace using an astrogation computer, a despair probably means that your ship got too close to a planet, and the computer had to pull the ship out of hyperspace at the last second to prevent you from becoming literal stardust. And the ship is probably not in a good state as a result of that. So despair is very powerful, but like Sylvanora said, you see it very rarely because red dice are not common, and I have to spend resources to make them happen most of the time, with the exception of very powerful enemies. So, and it's only a 1 in 12 chance on the die, so unfortunately they're kind of rare.
So just so you get an idea of how we create the pools, the green and the yellow dice form the basis of when we're going to create our characters, and we'll show that a little bit more later when we show the character sheet. And then the boost die, which is the other positive die, are things we get from helping each other out, or sometimes the GM can award them to us for doing something particularly good that he thinks would actually help in the result of what the role is we're doing. And then on the alternate side, the pool that's created for the enemies essentially is dictated by the GM, or some of the NPCs that we fight about or fight against, how they were built. And then the setback die is something that we actually see quite a bit. The GM gives it to us quite a bit. It's if we're trying to do something that is especially difficult. If you caught some of the show from the Edge of the Empire arc, I tried to talk to an infamous bounty hunter, which, you know, in reality isn't something that I should probably do. So I did get some setback dice for that check.
And to clarify a little bit, the difficulty dice determine how hard something is. So, for example, let's say you're trying to jump across a chasm. The distance of that, like from one side of the chasm to the other, is the difficulty.